Good afternoon. Welcome to Equipped. Reminder, this is an equipment-based class, hence the name Equipped. Today I will be coaching mainly with the kettlebell, but I will demo a little bit with dumbbells. If you have anything weighted, it'll pretty much work today. Just have to modify. Even if you have bands, the only odd one would be the high pull, where you just take those bands around the foot, and you can still work that strong high pull. All right? But speaking of which, let's go ahead and grab some bands if you have them. If you don't, no big deal. You're pretty much just going to give me intent full arm circles. So if you have those bands, let's give yourself some good tension on those bands. Pull them apart, and we're going to work a couple of pass-throughs. Okay, trying to keep that rib cage down, keeping the tension on the band. And if you can't quite get those arms straight or get all the way through, once you take those hands a little bit further out, this is not about causing pain or discomfort. It's just about turning on those shoulders, getting that T-spine, that upper back prepped. And just like last week, if you do not have bands nearby, no big issue. Just give me a couple more reps where you're going to be really just working intentful arm circles, palms to the sky, nice and strong, reaching as far as you can. Imagining you have those bands or a round bar, working those shoulders. Excellent. All right, let's go and get rid of those bands you still have. We're going to go right into our hinge squat, double lunge warm up. One of my favorite moves is to get the blood pumping. So let's work that strong hinge after you get those feet grounded, driving those hips back, standing tall. Find that deep squat if you got it, and find that double lunge, just one on each side. Once you get back up top, strong hinge, drive the hips back, deep squat. Of course, your deep squat's all relevant depending on how you're feeling. Strong hinge, squat, lunge. 2 more rounds. Hinge, squat, lunge. Make sure we're breathing, trying to get everything in sync early on. Last one, hinge, squat, lunge. Excellent. All right. So let's go ahead and grab the equipment you're going to be using today. So that's kettlebell, dumbbells, whatever it is. I want you to follow along. Y'all know the routine. Follow along as I demo the movements. I don't want you just standing there. I want you to get a little warmed up as I go through these, practicing them, and also you're not standing there bored out of your mind. All right? So today, we have our single leg squat. We are going to work that weighted. All right, so if we have dumbbell or kettlebell, it doesn't really matter. We're going to have pretty much goblet hold in front of the body. I'm going to start on my left side. I'm going to bring that right foot just slightly off the ground. Where my toes are still slightly touching the floor. And I'm going to pull that body down as low as I can go, and then stay right back up. Let's go about 3 reps on that left side. Again, that right foot is just acting like a kickstand, making sure I'm staying honest. Switching sides, going 3 on the right, pulling down, sitting the hips back. Nothing changes as far as mechanics, and your depth is all how deep you can go in that position. All right, so stay in control. After that, we're going to go right to our halo. No more black on black today. Not a good choice on black kettlebells, so I'm trying to find some light. With our halo, I'm going bottom up position. I'm going to work around the head and then back out in front. I'm going to alternate. What you're hopefully noticing is my head doesn't move. And with the kettlebell, the reason I like the bottom up position is so when I go around the back of the body, it's actually technically lighter. All right? Just due to lever. All right? Of course, if you're working dumbbells in either one of those positions or movements, if you have the dumbbell, hold it laterally, and you're working around the head. Even if you're a lightweight, you can challenge the shoulders here. Hopefully practice a few of those reps. All right, next we're going into our tactical lunge, one of my favorite variations of the lunge. If you have a kettlebell, I recommend holding the outside of the kettlebell, so on the corner of that horn. In my right hand, my right foot's going to step back. A lot of you know this one really well. You're going to pass under the body and then stand tall. Left foot steps back, pass under, stand tall. Let's go about 6 reps, 3 on each side. If you have a dumbbell, nothing really changes. Just a little bit of a different handoff, right? You're still grabbing onto the handle of that dumbbell. If you have a weighted backpack or anything like that, just hold it in front of the body and give me alternating reverse lunges, all right? Do what you can with the equipment you have. All right? Partnered with that today is our single arm high pull. We did this one a few weeks ago. As we work through this one, I'm really going to leave the variations up to you and your weight. I'm going to start on my left side. If you're working a pretty aggressive weight, I would like to say a little more squared off, work a little more of that hinge, and then straight up the body. Okay? I'm working a moderate weight today. I actually want to emphasize some rotation, so I'm going to go a staggered stance, and I'm going to rotate, try to get a different angle on this, as I'm pulling. Because I really want to try to challenge my trunk today. Again, it's all to the weight that you have. We'll go on my right side. Again, if I'm going heavier, I'm going to stay a little more squared off. I'm coming a little more off the body. You don't have to touch the ground, just working a little bit of that hip extension. And again, if you want to go with some rotation, take that right foot back, rotate. As we work through there, just make sure your belly button travels with you. All right, shine the light. We know that by now. All right? Our next pair is going to be our traditional swing with a static overhead hold. We're going to call it a press, but it's a hold. I'm going to show this swing with dumbbells. And most all of you know what it looks like with kettlebells, but those of you with a dumbbell, with dumbbells, take a little bit more narrow stance. So it's actually called a skier swing. Mechanics look the same. We're going to drive the hips back. We're going to use the hips to get the dumbbells out in front of the body. I'm not lifting the shoulders. I'm using the drive back of my hips, drive back forward. These are pretty light dumbbells, so I can make it look so easy. Hopefully you have a little heavier ones so you can challenge yourself. But no matter what you have, put that intensity in there. Of course, if we have a kettlebell, you're working just that traditional swing, that Russian swing, all right? And then our static overhead press. And actually, camera's not quite high enough, but I'm going to press overhead, your bicep to ear, and once I'm there, I'm checking my rib cage. My rib cage is pulled down. My knees are soft, my legs are strong. And then once I'm there, I'm going to start turning my thumb towards that back wall behind me. And I'm really pressing through that shoulder, all right, getting that full extension, challenging that shoulder blade, that rotator cuff, as I keep trying to turn that thumb backwards. Of course, we're going to work one side, and of course, work into the other. Okay? As we get to that one, it's pretty challenging, especially if you have a good amount of weight. It's actually one of my favorite movements for nice, good, healthy shoulders. All right, so let's get right into this because time flies by in this class, and strength flow comes very quickly. All right, so we're starting off that single leg squat. I'm going to work you through on my left side, but if you know your right side is weaker, start right side. So I have my kettlebell, I'm pulling down, pressing back up. A little different view here. Of course, my depth doesn't quite match what it would with a traditional squat. Not quite there on the single leg squat. I'm really trying to keep all that effort in that left leg, using just a big toe of the right foot to help out just a little bit with that movement, making sure I stay nice and stable. We'd love to do this one with a tennis ball, and we have them underneath that support foot, just to make sure we're putting just a little bit of pressure. 3, 2, 1, relax. If you're feeling your knees on that one, make sure you're keeping the weight back in the heel. People tend to front load a lot of the toes on that one. All right, let's go and switch out sides. 45 seconds of work today. 3, 2, pull it down. Back up. And you're shifting that hip back. Everything else will follow. Just like in a squat, initiation starts in the hips, then the knee and ankle follow. Slow and controlled here, especially if this is a movement that you don't sneak in a whole lot. So strong in that upper back. About 5 seconds. And relax. All right, we're going right into that halo. We got about 10 seconds. If you're working that kettlebell, I recommend that bottom up position. So you have the horn, bottom of the kettlebell is turned up, strong in the legs, soft in the knees, working a ribbon around the body. So there's a few options here. We've done this one before. Okay, you can really work that ribbon, actually go all the way to the pocket. If you have a little more moderate weight like I'm working with today. Increasing that distance. that lever. If you're a little heavier, I'd recommend staying a little more strict, controlled, making sure we're relaxed through the neck. Take a little breather here, technically, and relax. All right, switching back to that left side. Again, unless you started with the right, I would recommend that if you know your right side is a little bit weaker. We always tend to start right, so I like to start on the left. All right, make sure the weight stays in the heel. Shift that hip back. Single leg squat. You're going to tap the toes of that right foot. Nice and strong. Feel that breath. Feel that exhale as you work that hip extension. Making sure you're in control of your depth. Love to see a deep squat. If you feel like you're cheating a lot there in that bottom position, you're really having to use that right foot. Shorten it up for me. And relax once you finish that rep. We'll get our full range of motion out of our tactical lunges today. Right now, we're just really trying to challenge the quad, challenge that hip strength. All right, switching sides. Light on that left foot. Let's work. And the other single leg squat variation, a few of you may have done before, it's more referred to as a pistol squat. That's where we tend to take that unsupported leg out in front of the body. I like those, but it does break the mechanics of translating over to more of our traditional squats. I do like to sneak these in as well. 10 more seconds, and we're getting back to that halo. We've got 2 rounds of these movements today. So this does wrap up the single leg squat in about 5 seconds. Relax once you finish that rep. Our halo is coming back up. Again, if you have your dumbbell, you're going with a lateral grip on it, so you're grabbing end and end. You have your kettlebell. Let's go bottom up if you're moderate weight. Working around the head. Drive that elbow up first. Try to keep that kettlebell or that dumbbell right around that cranium. And if you like to sneak in a little bit of ab work, a little bit of core work, we can go with more of that ribbon. If you are working in that rotation, you're making sure you're bringing the belly button with you. So the hips are going to sit back a little bit. You're going to feel a little bit of a shift. 3, 2, and relax. All right, we're going right into our tactical lunge and that single arm high pull variation. Be appropriate with your weights here or with equipment that you have. I'm going right hand with that kettlebell, right foot stepping back, passing under, staying tall. Trying to keep my chest proud, my rib cage tight. Driving through that front heel. So pay attention. Are you starting to pass that kettlebell in front of the body? Or is it passing under your leg every rep? People tend to find a little bit of a figure 8 rhythm in this one where they start kind of just going in and out, kind of forgetting what they're doing with themselves. So pay attention. You don't need a giant step back. You're just getting that back knee close to the floor, driving through that heel. 3, 2, and relax. All right. So I gave some variations with that single arm high pull. Make it appropriate with the weight and intensity you're going. I'm going to work some rotation. I got a little more moderate weight today. If you're working heavier weight, strict. All right, let's work. You don't have to take that weight to the floor. You just are working a little bit of that hinge. You're driving that hip back, especially if you're working rotation, and then bringing that kettlebell right at the body as you work that hip extension. Really a good target to aim for is really about that sternum. You don't quite need to aim for the collarbone. If you end up there, it's fine. We're always going to go a little higher than where we're aiming. 10 seconds. Three, two, and relax. Switching sides. If you do have really light dumbbells that you're working with and you're trying to find a appropriate amount of intensity, you can go with a double high pull, go 2 rounds of back to back. I guarantee you're going to be feeling something. Let's work. Opposite side. So don't just think about driving that hip back. Think about actually pushing it forward as we use that hip strength, entire body, to help work through that high pull. Ten seconds. Three, two, and relax. We're going to transition back into that tactical lunge. We'll finish up those 2 rounds, and we're moving on to that swing and that static hold, that overhead hold we're going to bring the challenge with today. All right, going right hand. Right foot steps back, passing under. Trying to pay attention to my trunk, my core, my pillar, your abs, your six-pack if you're lucky. Whatever you want to call it. Not if you're lucky. Halfway through. Ten seconds. Three, two, and relax. Back to that high pull coming up. I love reminders. All right. High pull, tight belly. Shift those hips back. So again, whether you're staying strict, staying more vertical, feet squared off, you're working straight the body, you're still working that hip hinge, driving those hips back, and exploding those hips forward to get that kettlebell top. Again, that rotation is just an option on the weight that you have. Almost there. 5 seconds. And we're done with this side. And relax. All right, getting warm. Opposite side. If you're with me, you're grabbing the right side. I've got stagger stance, my right foot slightly back, drive my left hip back. Really trying to work that rotation. So don't forget, after this, we have our swing and that static press coming up. So even if you have a backpack, I'll show you a quick option with this swing. I know a lot of us get kind of frustrated if we don't have the appropriate equipment for some of these moves. So I'll give a really quick demo what a backpack swing can look like. I'm actually not a fan with trying to take it through the legs. It tends to get too wobbly, and that tension hits us at the wrong part with our lumbar. Relax. All right, if you have a backpack on that swing, plug it to the body and actually work a quick hinge to drive the hips back and then stand tall. That's what your swing's going to look like with that backpack. If you're with me, kettlebell or dumbbell, let's work. Let's go heavier. Got enough energy. Find that exhale with every rep. Then if you're working dumbbells, you got the dumbbells outside the body, you've got a tighter stance, mechanics don't change. 5 seconds. Woo. And relax. All right. I'll stay at 45. We'll go overhead press. Work here at the end. All right, you pick this side. I'm going to go left side first, a little less dominant for me. Going rack. Going press. And once I'm in that position, my knees are soft, my legs are strong, rib cage is pulled in, my head is tall. And now once I'm comfortable here, I'm going to start trying to turn my thumb towards that wall behind me. All right, so I'm trying to externally rotate through the shoulder. I feel my shoulder blades start to light on fire. As I'm challenging that rotation, if you ever want to do this outside this class, it's another great one to do these when you're with walks. Your overhead walks, make sure you have appropriate weight, appropriate intensity before you go on a stroll. 3, 2, and relax. If we take class down to 5 minutes, I'll do it with a Darth Vader one day. All right. Opposite side. Rack. Press. Get comfortable. If you're strong through the belly, exhales are intentful. And once you get in that locked position, you're starting to turn the thumb back towards that wall behind you. And externally rotating through the shoulder, you're going to feel that shoulder blade starting to want to scoop a little bit, being challenged. Training some stability through that shoulder girdle. On 8 seconds, do not lock those knees out. You do not want to pass out with a kettlebell over your head, and relax. All right. Going back to our swing, and then we have our static hold, and that's going to be it today, unless you're staying for strength flow. Set it up. Your swing, let's work. So as we're working through this swing, if you're working a kettlebell, make sure we keep that kettlebell high in that upper inner thigh. Okay, so you're not aiming below the knees. You feel that load in the hamstrings. You drive the hips back forward. You're not trying to see how far you can take that kettlebell between the legs. That's how we get in trouble. Then you feel that tension, you snap. You keep that power. 3, 2, relax. I like for people to think about a kettlebell swing much like a jump. If I told you to jump as high as you can, you wouldn't squat to here and then jump. You would load quickly and then snap. So that same mechanics is actually what a kettlebell swing looks like. All right, let's go into that hold. Rack it, press it, work. So even if you have moderate weight, you're like, oh, I really wish this thing had an extra zero on it. So really try to work that turn, try to get that thumb towards that back wall. See how tight that shoulder really is. Still soften those knees, strong through the legs, strong through the belly. 15 seconds. A little bit tougher in that first round. Breathe. Belt line to your belly button. Don't you let that low back take over. 3, 2, and relax. All right, big breath. Opposite side. If you're with me, that's right side. Rack. Press. Lock it in. So again, if you're side profile, I'm as straight as can be. My thumb's turning backwards. Rib cage is locked in, so I'm not flaring out. I'm not letting my belly press out. I'm not letting my low back take over. If you need those tactile cues, feel around, right? See if you can find some muscles that have gotten a little lazy. See if you can get them to tighten back up a little bit. Is that rib cage coming outwards? If it is, press it back in. 3, 2, and relax. Good work, y'all, good work. Give me a couple of breaths. We're gonna get a quick stretch. All right, so I know this class is quick, and depending on the amount of weight that you're actually working with, you may feel like you want to do more. You can always go back and work some of those movements. We only did 2 sets. You can even throw in 2 more of each if you like. All right, really work those movements. Again, we did the single leg squat, the halo, the tactical lunge, that high pull, our swing, and then that overhead hold. So if you like those movements, want to do it again, feel free to do so. If you're done for the day, let's join me real quick and just to stretch to get out of here. Let's take that right foot back. Just a little bit of a staggered stance, not a full lunge. Done. Let's try to get that belt line towards that belly button. Reach that right hand overhead. Now let's take it across. Exhale. Back in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Switch. No way, shape, or form is this enough of lengthening the muscle that we need after something like that. Inhale as you come down. This enough to just get you out of here. Make sure your body knows you're done. So you start repairing. Inhale. Exhale. All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining. If you are staying for Strength Flow, please go grab some water. Get a quick recovery, because we got a lot of work to do in Strength Flow tonight. If you have to jump, thanks for joining. Have a good night.